Alright guys, we're finally getting back on the motor for the 85, the 350 here. I got it all cleaned up, ready to paint, and I'm fixing to start painting it, then we're going to go ahead and start putting it together. We did just go ahead and pull the heads and intake off the 305 to put on here. It's going to bump up the compression a little bit, I think like 10 to 1 or something, which don't really matter. We just like doing that kind of stuff. He just wants a nice cruiser motor and be able to do a burnout every once in a while if he wants to, so this should be perfect for him. We are going with blue. Not Ford blue either, just blue. Alright, I got it all painted. I got a couple coats on it now. I'm going to let it dry and then probably put one more on it, and then I'm going to flip it over to touch up the top where I missed, and then we'll start putting it together. I got the valve covers painted. They're drying. I got to pick up a new timing chain for it. It's supposed to be in at 4 o'clock at Napa, so I got to wait for that. Alright, got it all together. When I get it off the engine stand, I am going to pull the flex plate off so we can put a new rear main seal in it. And then hopefully the plan is to get it in the truck tomorrow. I do got the balancer over here. When it dries, I'm gonna throw it on there, and then I'll put everything else on once it's in the truck, make it a little easier. Alright guys, we're fixing to get the trucks cleaned up, and we're gonna be heading to Boosted Behavior at 6 o'clock tonight for the big cruising they're having up there. Last time they had over 500 cars, they're expecting a lot more, so it's gonna be huge. Probably gonna be a lot of burnouts, no telling what's gonna go on, so join us for all that. We're stuck on the side of the road. Bad truck either blew a head gasket or hole in the piston or something. It's got antifreeze coming all out the exhaust. So we're gonna pull him down to the store until we can get a truck. We're currently pulling Dad's truck the rest of the way to the event. So last night we ended up going to Boosted Behaviors Cruising in Poplar Bluff, and on the way up there we was playing around on the highway, and Dad ended up blowing his truck up on the way up there. So I had to pull him the rest of the way to the event, which I added all that into the video, so you've seen all that already. So I had to go back home, get the wrecker, go back up there to get it, and by the time I got back, half the cars were already gone. But I didn't get hardly any video. Aaron got a little bit of video, but you guys already seen all that. But it was still pretty fun. Aaron and Dad said it got pretty rowdy there for a little bit, but by the time I got back, it, like I said, mostly cleared out. But on Dad's truck, I'll probably make a whole separate video of us pulling it out, tearing it down, seeing exactly what went wrong and what broke, and maybe try to figure out what actually caused it. We have an idea, but we're not sure. We're gonna wait till we tear it down to see for sure. But we're hoping it didn't tear it up too bad, like the crank, the heads, all that stuff. So we're hoping for the best. But we are getting back on the square body, and we're gonna get this motor dropped in real quick. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing dropped in there. All right, got it set down in there. Bell housing bolts are in, motor mount bolts are in. I still got to do everything else. I'm gonna try to get as far as I can today. Hopefully get it done today, but I know we have to go do a couple tows, so that may take up the rest of the day. So it's either gonna be today or tomorrow we're gonna get on it and get it finished. We went and hauled these trucks. This one we're dropping off here. That one we got to take it to his house. And then we got this one here we got to take to his house also. So. We got them dumped out here in the wild. All right, we got it all together. I didn't video it because it's time consuming. But we're fixing to fire it up for the first time. Aaron, you ready? Aaron. All right. Go ahead. Alright, I figured out why it wasn't sparking. I had an extra wire that needed to be hooked up to the distributor. First startup. Alright, so we got all together. It's running really good. I did hear this motor run before we had put it back together for this truck because I was going to use it in another project and we did not. But it was making like kind of like a lifter noise, but it was like a scraping at the same time. It was really weird. And come to find out, I accidentally put this valve cover on backwards and the side of it was hitting the top of the rocker arms really bad and causing the noise. So I finally figured that out, got that straightened out. Now I just got an exhaust leak on this side. I think it's the donut gasket down there. But other than that, I think we're about done with the motor part. Got to get the breather cleaned up, painted, put on, and then just kind of go over a few things. And then we're going to be off to the body. We got to swap fuel tanks still, get rid of the driver's side one because it's nasty and rusted out and all that. The passenger side one's good, and then, like I said, we got to straighten up this big old dent in the side right here. And then we're going to put new trim down the side of it. And then repaint the bottom side. So I'm not sure if we're gonna do all that in this video or I'll save it for the next one, but we'll see. All right, I'm taking the manifold off now. I took the flange bolts out and I broke 2 of them off. Getting this junk out of there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the manifold out so I can get the bolts out and then put it back on instead of laying under there in that tight space trying to fight it. Got the manifold all back together. Got the exhaust leak quieted down. Well, gone. Now you can hear it run. Sounds really good. I got the breather over here painted. When it dries, I'm gonna get it, throw it on, and then I think we're done up here. They get just body work from here and the gas tanks. I'm gonna pull this tank out, throw it away, pull the one out of the passenger side because it's a newer tank, and put it in this side because he wanted it on the driver's side. And then I gotta fix that big old dent that's on the other side. And then we're gonna paint it, and we'll paint from the body line down. I'll probably save the paint and body work for the next video. I do have a mechanical gauge on it for now, but it holds great oil pressure. It's pretty much up to temp too. I got both tanks down. I'm gonna swap the tanks around tomorrow and then get them back up in there. I'll put all new fuel line on it and everything. This one had a big old hole in it and old fuel. The other one's a pretty new tank, so we're gonna swap that tank into these brackets and then get it back up in there in the morning. And then I popped the dent out a little bit. I still got to work on it a bunch more. But once we get that done, we'll start sanding down the bottom and doing the body work on it and paint it. Paint the bottom side anyway. Alright, I got both tanks swapped around and it's running off this side now. So that's done. Like I said, we still gotta do the body work, and then I'm waiting for the trim to get here. I got it ordered. It's probably gonna be another week before it gets in here. So once it gets in, we'll get on this and get it done. The only thing we have to do after that, we're gonna try to get the AC working. And I think that's it. Get the hood back on. I am going to adjust the timing and the idle just a little bit more. It's hard to start, so we'll get that dialed in, and then I think it'll be ready to go back home. That's going to be all for this video. I should have a video out pretty soon of what happened to Dad's truck, us taking it all apart and figuring that out. I have been slacking big time on YouTube, so hopefully I'm going to start getting where I can record more and post more consistently. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.